Hey everyone, welcome back to the lab. Just thought I'd do a little bit of our old friend, the periodic table. Now the periodic table, as I've told you before, is a great resource, tells you a lot of information. Let's take a look. Now when you first look at the periodic table, there's a lot of information, but you really need to focus on just a few things. One, you need to focus on your groups. Your group numbers are the numbers that go along the top. Now the group numbers tell you the number of valence electrons or the number of electrons in the outermost shell. So group numbers, number of electrons in the outermost shell. So everything in group 1 has 1 electron in its outer shell. Everything in group 2 has 2 electrons in its outer shell. The next are your periods. These go horizontal or left to right. And these actually tell you the number of electron shells. So this is really important because one of the things you need to know for group 1 is that as you go down group 1, reactivity increases. Now the reason this happens is because if you go down into the further periods, that means that you're adding another electron shell, which means that overall your atom is getting much, much bigger. Now, the nucleus holds on to all those electrons as best it can. So when you have just 1 or 2 electron shells, it's able to keep hold of that electron shell quite simply because it's not that far away from the nucleus. But as you get into these further periods, as the atom gets larger, that outer shell gets much further and further away, which means that the nucleus is having a harder time to hold on to it. So the reason that group 1 elements get more reactive as you go down is because they have more electron shells, which means that it's easier for them to lose the electron, making them more reactive. The last thing to focus on is what these tell you here. So our top number, well really our bigger number, is what we call an atomic mass number. This is the number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus. This is called our atomic number. This tells us the number of protons. Now any element that's on the periodic table is neutral. So what that means is, if we look at oxygen, it has 8 protons. And since it's neutral, that also means it has 8 electrons. So we can use this number to work out the number of electrons, but be careful. On a test, the atomic number only tells us the number of protons. And there you have it, just a few things about the periodic table, group 1 reactivity. There is a lot more about the periodic table, which we'll do in some future videos, but for right now, that's Mr. Power signing off. Thanks for joining me in the lab. However, before you go, quick quiz, put the answer in the comments. Which element is more reactive, cesium or rubidium? So again, in the comments, let's check to see what you learned today. Which element is more reactive, cesium or rubidium?